So it's almost Q4, and if you're like me, you want to refocus on yourself before the year ends so you can finish off strong. Now, as summer ends and fall approaches, I know that means no more being outside, maybe at the beach, maybe being on a patio with your friends, which sucks, and we love the summer weather, but I do get excited when fall comes because for me, this means refocusing, resetting my goals, and kind of just pouring back into myself before the year ends. Now, hello, welcome. If you are new here, my name is Chelsea, and on my channel, I love to discuss all things self improvement, aestheticizing your life, and just becoming the best versions of ourselves so that we can live happy and very fruitful lives. Now, I know that fall does mean we're inside more, we're spending a lot more time alone, but it's also incredibly exciting because now we get to reset and figure out what it is that we really want to focus on. So, if you're like me and you're on this self improvement and self development journey, then keep watching. Okay, so step one of your ultimate fall reset routine is to do a life audit of three categories. Now, I kind of got this idea from Jazz Turner, who's also a creator on this platform, and I love the idea of focusing on specific categories in your life so you, one, don't overwhelm yourself, but two, you also have clear goals that you can set out for yourself specific to these categories. So while you're here, think about three categories in your life that you feel like could use a bit of improvement. Maybe you're not doing the best in. This could be wardrobe, this could be health and fitness, this could be nutrition, it can be inner work, it can be your finances, it can be your physical glow up. Whatever those three categories are, choose them and figure out how you want to start pouring into yourself to kind of improve those situations. So now that you have your three categories, ask yourself what's working and what isn't. So, for example, if I decided I wanted to do nutrition, for me, what I think is working is, making sure that I plan out my meals in advance and eat a specific type of food, or maybe, I'm eating more vegetables or eating more protein as opposed to just like eating pasta every single day. What I know is not working for me is going into the day not knowing what I want to eat and not thinking about what I want to eat until I actually get hungry. As somebody who has a pretty chaotic schedule, it is not in my best interest to wait until the last second until I'm super hungry to figure out what I want to eat because A, I probably don't have the time to like sit and actually make that meal, and B, I end up defaulting onto having things that maybe aren't the best for me nutritionally. So once you know what's working and what isn't, of course, keep doing what is working. But once you acknowledge and kind of figure out what isn't working for you, think about how you can flip that and what strategies you can implement into your daily schedule to fix that habit. So, for example, for me, because I want to improve the fact that I, sometimes wait until the last second to choose my meals, what I'm going to be doing is making sure that at the very least, if it's not planning my meals for the week, at least the night before, figuring out what I want to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and kind of prepping myself for that. So, for example, a problem that I run into often is like, okay, maybe I want to like have some chicken with some veggies and some rice or whatever it might be. And I don't think about that until I'm actually hungry the next day and the chicken is frozen in the freezer. So instead, I'm going to think about what I want the day before, the night before, and let's say it is chicken that I want to have, making sure the chicken is defrosted. So by the time I do want to eat it, I have something to eat and something to cook. And I feel like audits are so great because you can't really figure out what you need to fix until you acknowledge that there's even a problem in the first place. And if we're constantly moving through life and, not really acknowledging where our weaknesses are, I think it's pretty hard for us to, figure out how we can fix those problems. So don't be scared. Think about what in your life needs maybe some more attention and some more care. Figure that out. Think about ways you can implement some changes and then kind of go from there. Okay, the second step in your ultimate fall reset routine is to embrace solitude time. I honestly keep reiterating the same thing in almost all of my videos, but solitude is so important. Not only for us to reset as people, who are probably super social, but also to be able to connect with yourself, to slow down, listen to your thoughts, think about how you're actually doing, and kind of acknowledge where you're at in life. You almost need to get to a point where you're bored and kind of tired of being by yourself, I think, in order for your brain to kind of have some sensory rest, especially in a world where we're surrounded by devices and we use them for almost everything. Give yourself the time to not only spend time with yourself and pour into yourself, but also to kind of reset and let go of all of the technology that we constantly use on a daily basis. This not only allows you to reset your energy and kind of recharge in a way, but it also allows you to refocus that energy on things that are really important. So instead of you coming home and spending, 4 hours after work, on your laptop or on your phone, just kind of socializing with people, think about how you can use that time to pour into yourself instead. And I think we also need to do a better job of not conflating loneliness with being alone. I used to think that, being alone and spending, a Thursday night or a Friday night, doesn't matter what day in the week, but just like spending a night by myself inside, not doing anything crazy was almost like a bit like suckish. I was like, oh, like, am I a loser? I'm not a loser, but you get what I mean. Just like, I was like, is this like sucky for me to be inside by myself, not really doing anything super crazy? But I've realized, as someone who is so social and tries to be my full self when I am outside of the house, it is so important for me to be home and slow down and be with my own thoughts and not feel like I have to perform for any one thing or any person. So, one of the best ways to stop feeling lonely when you are alone is to get used to being alone and being with your own company. And now I've gotten to a point where I love being alone because I've forced myself to kind of like sit with myself and sit with my thoughts and feelings so much to the point where I crave it. Okay, the third step in the ultimate fall reset routine is to find a hobby that lights you up. Because obviously the weather is getting colder and we're going to be inside a lot more, we're not going to be socializing outside with our friends as much. I think it's so important for us to find things that bring us joy that don't require external factors. As someone who loves to aestheticize every part of my life, I love to find a cute hobby that I can use to pour into myself, to learn a bit more about myself, or just something that brings me joy. I love to find something that I can do and really focus on when fall comes. So for me, I love reading, and it's not that I wasn't reading throughout the entire year, but now that I am going to be inside a lot more, I love to really prioritize that, create lists of books that I want to read, make sure that when I am reading, I'm creating a cozy, fun space for myself. Now, at this point, you can ask yourself, is there something that I wish I had done more of throughout the year? And if there is, and it's something that you can do by yourself, list it out and start pouring back into yourself using that thing. I don't know, some fall hobbies can include baking, can include cooking, arts and crafts, reading like I do. You can write, you can go on nature walks, or you can go on hikes. Maybe you want to start doing more yoga or meditating, whatever it is. Find something that will not only aestheticize your life and make you feel like you're the main character, but something that will genuinely allow you to feel better about yourself in some capacity. Okay, so the fourth step into the ultimate fall reset routine, and my personal favorite, is to transform your space into your sanctuary. I am so big on my room being my safe space. I want it to feel like it's my little incubator that I can use to recharge and to feel safe and to feel good and excited about myself, especially after coming from a long day of socializing, a long day of work, whatever it might be. I want my space to feel catered to me and how I want to feel. And especially because it will be colder, we're going to be inside a lot more. So, whatever your space might look like, think about different ways that you can pour into that space so it feels like somewhere you really want to be and spend your time. As somebody who is in production, I am very big on paying, attention to the smallest of things that can create an entire ambience and can create an entire mood. So, when you think of your space, ask yourself, how do I want to feel when I'm in this space, and how do I want this space to make me feel? And then, whatever your answer is, think of what factors can contribute to that to create that dream space of yours. Some of these factors include engaging your senses. So, this can be lighting, this can be sense, this can be what things feel like, it can be sound. Whatever that is, think about what kind of experience you want to experience when you are in your space so that you can feel like your best self and feel like you're being recharged for when you do have to go back outside. So for me, I am very big on my space being cozy. So lighting, for example, I have lots of lamps in my room. I never use my ceiling light because I think it's the color, the tone of it. I think it's just very jarring. I don't like the ceiling light. I use my LED lights. I use fairy lights. I use lamps, little things like that will allow my space to feel a bit more cozy. The lighting is a bit more dim and it, I find, calms my mood a bit more. I'm also very big on scents. I love warm, sweet scents. So what I do is when I have a wall plug in my room that kind of has a sweeter scent, and I also use a lot of candles. I'm very big on candle burning, and making the space feel and smell like somewhere I want to be. Whatever that might be for you, you can be into diffusers. Maybe you want to have lavender or eucalyptus in your diffuser. Whatever it is, think about the scents that you want to use to make your space feel like home to you. Also, in terms of in terms of textures, I love fuzzy blankets. I love, fuzzy robes, things that will allow my body to feel really nice and really cozy, and kind of like I'm giving myself a big hug. And if you've watched my videos before, I'm so big on playing lo-fi music. To me, it just makes me feel like the main character. It makes me feel like I am playing the soundtrack to my life. So what I'll do is, especially on a night in, I love to have lo-fi music playing in the background. And there's different types of lo-fi out there, if you're thinking, damn, I don't want to listen to the same thing every time. For example, it's fall now, so Lo-Fi Girl has a like spooky, like a Halloween lo-fi playlist. That is what I will be playing. And I know it's September before everybody comes after me, but that's what I use to make it feel like my space is something special, something intentionally curated. Whatever your desired mood is, think about how you want to feel when you go home and you go into your space. And let's say you've had a super long day. How do you actually want to feel when you're in this space? And think about how you can cultivate that using small things like lighting and scents and sound, whatever that is, to create the perfect ambience for your space. Now, for all my summer lovers, fall doesn't have to mean that it's the end of goodness, it's the end of sunshine, or anything fun. Fall can mean pouring into yourself and slowing down, which is so important to me. This is your life, and you get to decide how beautiful you want to make it. As the seasons change and we, might be slowing down a bit more, refocusing on different things, think about how you can make your life feel intentional, feel exciting, and just refocus as the last quarter begins very, very shortly. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching and spending your energy with me. I love you all so much. I will see you in the next video. And until then, have a beautiful day and good luck on resetting your fall routine.